Hello and welcome to Famous Shamus Sheep Shearing. If you didn't know, I split up my channel so that this channel is exclusively sheep shearing. And if you notice these wonderful pictures next to me, these are photos that I've taken myself. And you can buy one just like this, at my brand store or my merch website. And those links will be down below in the description. And also a link to my other YouTube channel, which would be more adventures. Stepping away, I'm separating sheep shearing and my other adventures. But anyways, hello and welcome to Ralph McWilliams Shearing Supplies, and this is Ralph McWilliams himself. He is one of the main distributors of sheep shearing gear and equipment, handpieces, anything related to sheep shearing in the US. And as you can see, he has a nice selection of combs and cutters, handpieces, machines, anything sheep shearing related he has for the seasoned shearers or just people who want to shear 1 or 2 head. Don't be afraid to give him a call, and he'll be more than happy to answer your questions and have a good talk with you about anything sheep shearing related. The purpose of this video, which is long overdue, is the amount of sheep I shorn in my second year shearing, 2021. And so, like always, I'm going to talk about my income and expenses, but I'm not going to make it so formal. It's going to be more informal. I'm just going to read off some stats and whatnot. So in the year 2021, from one calendar year, January to December, I shorn everything's about, because it's really hard to keep an exact count of how many sheep you shear, but it's pretty accurate, 8,841 head. And then I tagged 7,937 head. And throughout that course of the year, I've worked for 4 different contractors. I worked for Kerr Sheep Shearing, Harrington Sheep Shearing, Hoops Sheep Shearing, and then Moser. And they're all in different areas of the country, different states and whatnot. But my main sheep shearing season was done with Kerr Sheep Shearing. And for that particular contractor, I sheared 5,986 head. And that's from January to May. I worked like 2 days in May. And then Harrington, he's the gentleman that got me into sheep shearing. I did one job with him. Every year I try to help him out with one job. And I shared 160 head for him. And then with Hoops Sheep Shearing, I did some shearing for him during the main shear season. And then I did his fall tagging run, which is where I tagged all my sheep. And then for Moser, I sheared 1,762 head, and that was only for the month of December. Matter of fact, only 21 days of shearing. So anyways, my total income, well, before I get on that, I'll just talk about the amount of sheep I sheared per month, and then how much I made about that month, and then I'm just going to give you a guesstimate of my expenses. So in the month of January, I sheared 1,281 head, and I made about 3,600, probably closer to 3,700. And then with every single, talk about how much money I made, to get a rough estimate of, my profits, just subtract $1,500 to $2,000 from each month. That's about, if I'm frugal with my money, that's about the travel expense, food expense. And then at the start of each season, each major sheep shearing season, so about once or twice a year, you have to rebuy gear, and gear is combs and cutters. So automatically, to start off the year, a bunch of probably $500 to $700 worth of combs and cutters. And if you need a new hand piece or a rebuild kit to rebuild the old hand piece, because they do wear out and whatnot. So month of January, 3,700, and then subtract 1,500 to 2,000 for work expenses. And then in the month of February, I sheared 1,162 head. making about $3,300. And then in the month of March, I shorn, 2,474 head with the income of about $7,000. Then in the month of April, 1,288 with an income of about $3,900. Then in May, 102 head, so like about $300. During this main, the people I worked for during this main sheep shearing season, they paid about because each job, well, I know for all the major jobs that they worked on, they paid us $285 a head. And then for lambs, I didn't do any lamb shearing that year for these contractors, so the previous year it was $250 a head, to my knowledge, for the year 2021. So in the month of May, 102, about $300. Then in September, so this is the fall tagging run now, I shorn 479 head, and like I joined the fall run, right at the end of it. I think that was about 1 week of shearing, and this is in Idaho, and those are some tough sheep. So about $1,400, if you want an exact count, $1,365.15 at $285 a head. And then for October, the month where I did all my tagging, pretty much, 7,937 tagged and 323 shorn. So which is about $7,000 when it was all said and done. And then in the month of December, I shorn about $1,732. And I made $8,500, which is kind of a low estimate. The base pay of the contractor I worked for in December is $550 per head. And so if you take 1,732 or divide 8,500 by 1,732, it's about $5 a head. So it's kind of a low guess. But the base pay is $550, and then he throws on additional like 50 cents if he has to drive X amount, or if they're really, really big, he might charge $7. So the rate for the contractor that I worked for in December, it changes upon distance traveled, what kind of sheep they are and whatnot. So just counting the months I've worked, which is January, February, March, April. I don't know if you really want to count May and September. We'll just make that 1 month. So 5 months, October, December. So I was able to find work for about 7 months out of the year for sheep shearing specifically. And my total income from 7 months of shearing is $36,000. But that does not include, travel expenses. And so just a rough estimate of, what my expenses were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's just say 7 times 1,000. 7 times 2,000. Let's just make it an easy go at math. 7 times 2,000. So about 7 months of shearing times $2,000 of expenses. $14,000. And then gear. I had to buy gear twice that year, and then a hand piece. And so let's just say 700 times 2, 1,400 hand pieces, 500, $2,000. So 2,000 plus 14,000, $16,000, and then so that's about $20,000, off the top, money I made. But then that doesn't include, maintenance on vehicles. So this particular year, my pickup did break down, my half-ton pickup. The transmission went out. and that was about $5,000 to get it fixed. So I brought it to the dealership in Bozeman, Montana. I limped it there in first gear. It was a few miles away. And then I asked, hey, can you fix this? They're like, not for a few weeks. I'm like, well, then point me towards a salesman that needs a lucky day because I need a vehicle. So that's when I bought my, I drive a Duramax now, a 3/4 ton Duramax Chevy. I mean, obviously it's a Chevy. And that was an inexpensive purchase. So I, put a down payment of $7,000 right away to kind of make sure my payments weren't too high. And so, on top of, the $16,000 I used to, travel, food, gas, mostly just gas, and, do tires, basic maintenance, additional $5,000 to buy a new transmission and, labor to get my half ton working, and then another $7,000 as a down payment for my Duramax, my diesel pickup, which, payments and whatnot. So $5,000 plus $7,000, $12,000, another $12,000 on top of $16,000. So that's what, $28,000. And I've made $36,000 shearing sheep. Sheep shearing is expensive to do. And so when I started shearing, my main goal was to produce all my income from shearing strictly. But, as I progress in this career and the industry, I'm finding out that it's very, very hard to be strictly a sheep shearer. You can be strictly a sheep shearer under special circumstances and whatnot, but usually, if you're a sheep shearer, you have other side gigs that you do too. So, during the other months that I weren't shearing, I was able to, find work and able to support my expenses with that, because, on top of, work expenses, you have your personal expenses, rent, homes, monthly payments, dues, or just whatever life throws at you. So, I've been pretty fortunate so far in my life where I've tried to keep that to a minimal. When I moved out west, I didn't have any outstanding loans besides my pickups. I didn't have a house, stuff like that. And I always kept my expenses low. So, anyways, that's how much money I made and spent in the year 2021 related to sheep shearing. So a quick overview: the amount of sheep I shorn was 8,841, and I tagged 7,937 for a income of about 36,000. Profit was probably, well, I'll just let you figure that out. And so anyways, that's all I have to share. If you got any questions about anything else, just comment below, and don't forget to check out my other passions and interests, and maybe perhaps buy a photo like so. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for watching that video. And also, from this point on, I'm going to be separating my sheep shearing adventures with my other adventures. So I'm going to be splitting my YouTube channel into two, turn the sheep shearing channel into an exclusive sheep shearing channel. But on my other channel, it will be all my other adventures, outdoor adventures, shooting, and photography, all my other passions, outdoor passions. So be sure to check that out too. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel, and check out my other channel. And also, don't forget to check out my store too, where you can see my photos, where you can see my photography and see the photos that I've taken. All right, see you later.